Welcome back to They Did What? Your source of the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories where I go over them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today, going to go a story titled, Am I the a-hole for canceling our wedding after our rehearsal dinner was ruined by her mom and family? And a shout out to AM for sending this story. And guys, this story is about a guy. He's 39 years old, married. He was married, had a couple kids, and he got involved with a single MOM who not only has kids from previous marriage, but from two different baby daddies, and I might add, no job, no income. Yeah, real winner. Except this guy thinks it's a great idea to get involved with her. But fortunately, one thing leads to another, and he kicks her to the curb and really dodges a big one. And this story is a perfect example, is that you're going to get involved with a girl. Once you see her for a little while, and eventually you're getting close with her, you got to really observe her family. If her family are really good people, and they're good to you and kind and welcoming and supportive, and she has a good relationship with them, okay, there's a potential for a future if that's what you want. But if they're a bunch of a-holes, if there's all this turmoil and drama with her and her parents and family, if she can't say no to them, even though they treat her like crap, if they're rude to you, if there's all these problems, you need to run, regardless how much you like her, because that's going to become your family. And if you don't, it's going to be a mess, and you're going to see here. But this guy, fortunately, at the 11th hour, gets the hell out of there, and it's a good one there. And, of course, the lesson is don't get involved with the wacko single MOMs, particularly ones that don't have a job, because they're to use you, your resources. And there are plenty of them just like that. But before I get into this, real quick, guys, again, if you're on X, or formerly Twitter, come check me out. The community is growing every day. We're having a good time over there because guess what? You can talk about what you want to, sharing videos and memes and articles and all that. It's definitely good, so come over and check it out. The handle's SSM Channels. So it starts off, it says here, my ex-fiancée Kelly, a 40-year-old female, and I were together for 3 years. We're both divorced and have children from our previous relationships. I had kids with my ex-wife, and Kelly got married really young and divorced after 10 years, and then met a guy and got pregnant again within weeks, and they tried to work things out, but they couldn't. So Kelly's a single mom, and she has 2 kids, one each from different fathers. Oh, how wonderful. What can go wrong here? We did have our challenges, but always managed to pull through. Define challenges, amigo, because I know there's going to be challenges coming. And that many challenges early on? We're both working class. When I proposed, we both agreed to either have a very small wedding or hold a large event later because I would need to save up money. She doesn't have a job and would need to save up for over a year. We skipped the big wedding idea and agreed on a ceremony and reception at her family's home where her aunts live. So on top of the fact that she's 40 and has 2 kids from different fathers, she also doesn't have a freaking job. You want to talk about a stereotype here? Amigo, why do you think she's with you? To mooch off you. And if you think I'm wrong, well, I'll get into the story here. No, smack. I should have smacked him earlier, but, I'm not in a smacking kind of mood today. Come on here. Kelly and I planned for a very simple wedding to take place in the space of her family's backyard and the garage. Because I was paying for almost everything, they offered to let us use the space as our venue at no cost. Her family was considering charging you money to rent out their backyard and garage. What kind of magical backyard? What is this, fucking Disney? Really here? I'm sure these aren't great, beautiful parks with amazing landscaping and a place where other people book things out. Are you kidding me? So I purchased the alcohol with exception for a few cases of beer and paid for the rental chairs and tables. Oh joy. My groomsmen chipped in a few things while I noticed that her family was very laid back. Now, don't get me wrong, it was my wedding and our responsibility. But I noticed that she slowly began listening to them and wanted a few things that were not in our budget. Well, she can listen to them all they want, but at the end of the day, it boils down to what you want. So she wanted a floral arch, and I managed to get one. Her mom began pushing for more stuff to accommodate her family's ideas, and we agreed on a bakery cake, and a mother-in-law twisted her lips in disapproval. Those things felt annoying, but manageable. So already we're seeing the issues with the family. Guys, I tell you all the time, you're going to get in a relationship with a gal, really get to know her family ahead of time because that could be your family. And if they're cool, great. But if they're a giant pain in the ass and she always listens to them than you, amongst many other things, this is a problem. But remember, he's been discovering these things about her family. We're not getting close to getting started here yet. And the fact that she has 2 kids from different baby daddies, doesn't have a job. I mean, this is a terrible idea. Well, fast forward, and her big brother Justin, he's 47 years old, got depressed because he got dumped. The official story is that his wealthy, bitchy ex-girlfriend decided to dump him and treat him badly. I regretted letting him stay with us after I learned that he cheated on his ex. Well, maybe that's a good reason for her to dump him. I don't know. This bothered me a lot since his ex helped him out many times and did lots of things for his kids. Zero trust after that. Okay, so this guy's a scumbag. Kelly and her siblings think he's God because he took over the paternal role when her parents got divorced. They give him way too much credit. The guy can't hold a job, can't even guide his children right, and does lots of entertaining parenting, but doesn't teach them responsibility. What's he going to teach him? He's a big child himself. So this guy's girlfriend, who he's going to marry, his fiancée, doesn't have a job. Her older brother, who they all think is God's gift to the world, can't hold a job. He's a cheater. What a family. I can't stand him, and Kelly knows it. He can talk about his life during his 20s for a whole day, and it's always about how women chased him, how an ex-girlfriend tried to unalive herself, how women had cat fights over him. I had to confront him about these weird stories to make him shut up. Well, it's one thing if he's annoying. It's another thing if he's just a genuine a-hole, and you can tell he is. Well, as the wedding approached, it became more difficult to get Kelly's attention in our relationship. More about the wedding ceremony than the actual marriage. She started taking him on drives to check on his ex. So she's helping him stalk his ex. I objected to this. Then he would constantly interrupt us, bringing updates on his ex. He only wanted to apply to online jobs and ended up trying to enroll me in something that didn't look serious at all. I asked her to make him leave, but she got very angry and stopped talking to me. Bro, these are called signs. This is like signs from God telling you this ain't going to work. I mean, come on, aside from the obvious, no job, different baby daddies for the kids, all that. I mean, what the hell's the matter with you? I mean, it's not rocket. Can you not be alone? Better be alone with someone like this. You're being used. This is just the beginning. Well, Kelly and I had a huge argument that I'm sure he overheard. I went to take a shower, and when I came out of the bedroom, I overheard him telling her that he didn't expect me to understand him because I'm too simple. I can't remember his exact words, though. And he said that he doesn't expect a guy with my job to understand his life. A guy with your job, at least you have a job. At least you're a responsible guy that has an income and takes care of your loved ones. This dude's judging you because you don't. It's interesting to me, these people that think they're such big shots and know everything, usually don't have any money, can't hold a job. If they do have a job, it's nothing that spectacular, and yet, right here. I immediately confronted him, and not only did she deny everything I heard, but she basically took his side. I kicked him out and drove him to the mother-in-law's with all his things. This was 4 months ago, and her family never treated me the same. Yeah, he's in your house, dude. You can kick him the fuck out in a heartbeat. But again, if this guy's such a big shot and knows everything, why was he living with you? What the fuck? But you're a pushover, at least up to this point. Well, we had our rehearsal dinner, which was supposed to be a very small gathering. My kids and her kids were present, as well as my parents and maybe 10 of the people on my side. Her family kept showing up. I know that her family cooked for the occasion, aside from other things that were provided, but the point is that I was restricted from bringing people while her side of the list grew strong more and more and more. So much for that. You may have gotten their backyard for free, but it wasn't for free. They called all the shots. The worst part is that her mother got drunk. My family are very low-key people, a bit shy, and mother-in-law is a belligerent drunk and started to act vulgar. I took her comments about me and Justin in stride just to keep the peace, but my family felt uncomfortable, and I knew that she was trying to insult me. Well, you shouldn't be doing that, man. I mean, again, this is who your family's going to be. I pulled Kelly aside about 4 times to ask her to control her mother. Her mother's probably like, I can do what I want. This is my house. To her credit, she tried to get her mom to sit down. Her family, older aunt and 2 cousins, also got drunk and pretty loud. By the time we were supposed to show some pictures show some pictures on the monitor, nobody was paying attention, and Justin was telling jokes and acting like the event was all about him. Well, that's how these guys usually are. The chairs had been pulled away from the tables, and the burgers and hot dogs intended for the kids were missing. Okay, so the kids don't get to eat? These people are trash. I asked my parents to take the kids home, and after raging inside for the whole night, I decided to ask my friends to help me load all the alcohol and stuff that I had contributed that were physically kept at her family's home into our cars. Everyone went quiet after that. It was a complete shit show. Kelly started crying and promised that her family would apologize. No, they're not going to apologize. One, they're not going to apologize, and two, I don't want to hear it. I'm out of here. And of course, the waterworks come. I didn't want to talk because her family used our rehearsal to party on my dime. I went to stay with a friend. From all this, what hurts the most is that hers and my kids had to see the drunken spectacle, and my parents had to see me in an embarrassing situation. Yeah, well, you know what? If this is what led you ending it with her, then that's a good thing. But I just don't know how. There's no way the parents didn't know some things about this family anyway, and they probably warned him. Kelly and I talked, and she was very eager to fix things, but while I still love her, I don't see myself repeating the experience. Good, bro, you're finally growing a brain. I knew her family wasn't perfect, and of course mine's not either, but I had very little support from her. She says that her family was just being a big family, talking amongst themselves and being loud, and that while she understood that I was offended, I caused a scene and she didn't disown me. I've been able to sleep since I feel empty and alone. She's saying he caused the scene. Her family caused the scene. They're a bunch of assholes. And by the way, him saying I haven't been able to sleep because I feel empty and alone. Look, dude, I get you spent 3 years of your life with her, you're going to marry her, but I don't want to hear or even suspect that you're one of these guys that whines and complains that you can't be alone. Of course you can be alone. Guys that go around that whine and complain that they can't be alone are fucking idiots. You're never going to have really good people in your life if you're one of these types that take anybody in because you can't be alone. All right? The problem with the guys that claim they can't be alone is they don't have anything meaningful going on in their lives. They don't have a real grind. They don't have a purpose. They don't have any goals they're trying to achieve. Their whole grind and purpose is usually about their freaking girlfriend or wife. If they were building a business or had some kind of hobby that they were really embracing or making some kind of change in their lives, then all of a sudden they can handle being alone because they're focusing on something meaningful and important. Or they're volunteering at a charity, or they're doing something that they have passion behind. Instead, these crybabies that whine about not being alone, like I said, make their girlfriends about their whole lives, which is the worst thing you can do. Anyway, he says, it took a lot from me, but I said that we should cancel the wedding. Good. Very good. You're her ATM. She's using you. They all are. I never want to see her mom or her brother again, and I will never ask her to cut them off because despite of everything, it's not fair, and she will hate me for it. Well, she will hate you for it, and she wouldn't cut them off. Also, she would never be able to do it, and the fact that my parents said that they would support whatever I decided, but they prefer not to attend my wedding, but would go anyway because they wouldn't do that to me, really stung. So my family was ignored, and I was treated poorly, and I was supposed to act like nothing happened. Well, because they saw I was a pushover, and the fact that you're with her, and she had no job for 3 years, taking care of her kids, and all the other stuff, in their minds you were a pushover, and people like this take advantage of people. Kelly didn't take the cancellation very well, but I just can't do this. I said I'll pay for the remaining portion of the lease to avoid getting her and her kids kicked out, but our relationship is over. Good. Keep it that way. I already removed my things to avoid dragging a painful breakup. I know I'll never go back, but her words about not disowning me hurt me because despite feeling that I'm in the right, I feel like I failed her somehow. Smack! Dude, no. She's manipulating you. She's been using you failed her. She's failed you. Like she feels like I gave up, and she feels like my walking away was far worse. Am I the a-hole? Smack! Now I'm going to smack and move. No, you're not the a-hole. You're taking care of yourself. And not to mention your kids. You want to introduce your kids to that family? She'll probably be a nightmare freaking stepmom to them. Not to mention they're going to be assholes to your kids. And not to mention your family. But next time, as the lesson of the story is, you really screen a girl's family before you even consider marrying her. Really. And not to mention the fact that don't get involved with a woman that doesn't have a fucking job. Okay? If she was laid off, fine. It can happen to anybody. Happens to most people at least once in their lives, if not many. But was she actively trying to get another job? No, because why should she? You're paying for her. And don't get involved with those single moms. I get he's a single dad too, but frankly, you're not going to, you don't hear stories about crazy single dads. You hear stories about crazy single moms. But anyhow, so good for him finally ending it in the end, because otherwise it just would have been chaos. But there you go. Now, the whole unlike Reddit, very unlike Reddit, the whole comment section's on his side, which is very reassuring. Thank God. Read a few comments here to wrap this up. One guy says, "You're not the a-hole. You dodged a major bullet and good call canceling the wedding. You realize Kelly only apologized because you're her gravy train, and it's pretty evident her family thinks you're gravy. This woman is unemployed at 40 and a single mom who's funding her lifestyle. Run and run far, and be thankful the mask dropped before you put a ring on it. This woman and her family are losers. Please go to therapy and look inward, because you should not feel lonely or sad for dumping this trash." I think he's lonely and sad less about her, but just maybe feeling like a failure or wasting 3 years. Who the hell knows? Because, I mean, his first marriage didn't work out, so he probably values himself based on things like that, which a guy shouldn't, but he does. Another one. "Not the a-hole. Red flags are abundant and flying high. Her brother was a giant giveaway that this relationship wasn't for you. She supported him cheating on, stalking his ex before she was rich. That alone would have noped me out of the relationship. Nobody got offended until you started removing the booze that you paid for. She was a working-class mooch. Her family were mooches, too. She had a baby after a few weeks to try to keep a man. It didn't work out because he had money, but he wouldn't let her family mooch, or he wasn't rich, just a liar." Well, here's the thing. She's not working class because she doesn't have a fucking job. There's nothing wrong with working class. He is. At least he has a job, an income. Not her. She honestly, her family sounds like a bunch of freaking white trash. That's the best way to describe it, because I'm assuming they're white, and I can say that because I'm white. That's what they seem like. But anyhow, I'll wrap that up. No need more comments here. So good for him. So the lesson is, guys, really do your homework on your girl. Do your homework on her family. And for God's sakes, if she has all these upfront red flags, like no freaking job, and no job during the entire relationship, and has different kids from different baby daddies, that I'd tell you something. For God's sakes. And if you can't be alone, you really need to work on yourself so you can be alone. Because once you can handle being alone, you can be more selective who comes into your life. Because otherwise, you're going to let people in like this. Alright guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. If you guys found a good story, send it my way. strongsuccessfulmale@gmail.com. And just give me some time to get to it, and I definitely will. And be sure to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.